So I made this calendar for 2023, and the really cool part is I have a task list attached to it. Now, anything I populate on this task list shows up on the calendar. Let me show you. So let's go. And then I go over to here and it automatically updates. So it's a pretty slick little calendar. You can plan out your year for 2023 with this thing pretty easily. Make a budget schedule, make a schedule for your organization, print it out, give it around to everyone. But let me show you how to do it. Let's get into it right now. So the first thing that I do is go to file, and then they have these templates at the top. I saw here they have any year custom calendar. That's good enough for me. So I click that, and then I click create, and now I got this calendar. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going to insert my logo into this thing. So I go insert pictures, this device, take my logo, throw it in there. Great. Now I got my logo on this calendar. Okay, I'm going to set the year to 2023. And then this blue isn't really doing it for me. So I go to page layout, themes. I like this view theme. The fonts that I use are Courier New. So I'll put Courier New fonts. And now I have a calendar that kind of looks the way I want it to look. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a task list on it. So make a new sheet, rename that sheet tasks. And then up here in B2, I'm going to write out my task. So task date, task name, task description. And there I have it. Now, I don't want to retype all these descriptions, so I'm going to come over here and copy this information and paste it right in here. Boom. I want to change these dates to be the long date, and we'll format that to the left. And I want to make this whole thing a table. So I'll highlight it. I'll go insert table. My table has headers, and I'll call that table tasks. I'm going to make this first row bigger. I'm going to make this column smaller, and then I'm going to take away the grid lines. Let me double click this. There we go. All right. So now I have this table that I can update, but I got to connect it to the calendar. So what I need is a formula written in here. So what I'm going to write is an index formula. Click OK. I want array, row number, column number. Now the array that I want to return is the task name. So I'll highlight these. I don't like the way that is. This should be tasks. So I'm going to reference the table. The table is named tasks. I'm going to go left bracket. I'm going to type in task name. I'm going to hit right bracket, and there we go. Now I have that array, and for now I'm just going to type in the number 1 for the row number. Okay, so that's row 1. That works for me, but I need to dynamically populate this. So a lot of people will jump to the match formula, but the thing is, match is only going to work for the first instance of January 1st. I had 5 slots for January 1st. So if I did a match function here, I would only be able to get this one. But I want to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how am I going to do it? How am I going to get this, the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one? Well, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the small function. So when I go to the small function, I see what this is. So returns the k smallest value in a data set. For example, the 5th smallest number. So it wants an array, and then it wants the position in the array. The first one, the second one, the third one, that's what your k value is. So I'm going to custom create the array, but for this one, I know I want the first, so I'm going to type the number 1, and then I'm going to click OK. So now let's make our array for this thing. I'm going to group all these up for now so that you can easily see what I'm up to. So the next thing I'm going to do is write that array for my small function. So how am I going to write it? Well, I'm going to make an if statement. So if the task date, so all of these tasks, task date equals, and I don't want that reference to the first page, so I'm going to delete that out. And then I'm going to put in A10. Get rid of it. All right. If task date equals A10, then I'm going to type row. Okay. And I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to highlight all of these again. Row, task date. And then I'm going to subtract 1 row, 2 rows from that. So -2. Then I'm going to close the parentheses. Okay. So that is giving me this array. So it says here I have 5 that match January 1st, 2023. And then the rest of the stuff in the array, all these other ones, do not match. Okay. So I have 5 matches. So I know that that's what I'm looking for. And if I change this to be the one below it, I'm only going to have 4 matches. So that is the array I'm looking for. And then I can use the small function to pick the position in the array. So if I want number 1, I just say comma 1. So I know that this is the array I'm looking for. So I highlight all of this, not the equal sign. I copy it, okay? And then I'm going to nest it into my small function. Now this will probably spill, but I get 1. So now I have the first position. That's the one I'm looking for here. So I'm going to copy this and replace the 1 here. And now I have that formula. Now you can see I can copy this down to the next one. That's not going to work because it's not referencing A10. So I pull that back up to reference A10 and it's working again. But if I want the second instance on this line, I take that 1 and I change it to a 2. And now I have the second instance. If I highlight this, bring it down, paste it in, change this to a 3, I have the third instance. I paste it in again and change that to a 4, I have the fourth instance. And I paste that in again, change that to a 5, I have the fifth instance. So let's get rid of this stuff. Why didn't it delete that? Well, let's just delete it. Okay. So there isn't anything on the fifth instance, and I get this num. That num's pretty ugly, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this in an if error function, and then put double quotes at the end, close it out. Now that'll return blank. And I'm going to want to do that for each of these. But really all I'm doing is putting the if error around each of these. 2, 3, 4, 5. So all these formulas are now correct. I'm going to expand this back, and then I'm going to take off my grouping. Let's change that formatting in the cell back to the one it had before. So there's the formatting. Now this is working. This is going out. Let's go. Map out the year's tasks. Start working. Think about life. Let's go. Map out the year's tabs. Start working. Think about life. And then back to work is going to be on January 6th. So let's copy these formulas around. There it is. Oh, now we have an issue because this specific calendar has these columns at the top. So I'm going to delete this off and merge that. Unmerge, remerge, unmerge, remerge. And because the merge keeps the leftmost and this has the formula in it, this is working for me. So I'm unmerging and remerging each of these. And then hopefully it's the same number of columns in the next one. I'll just paste that over. Okay, so January 6th, we got 2 things. And it's back to work, work harder. Back to work, work harder. Everything's still going good. Gonna highlight this row below. Move that formatting up again. Great. So now I have a row that's working. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it down to the rest of my rows in January. And because the way we wrote that formula, it's just dynamically going to the reference in the cell and returning the information from this task sheet. So this is working well. The next thing I need to do is move it to all the other tabs in the worksheet, all the other months. And if I look at those tabs, they're laid out exactly the same as January. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything here, and then I'm going to highlight all of those other tabs. When I do that, I'm going to be able to paste into all those other tabs at the same time. So paste, 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 and then I'll just copy and paste this. So I get these two. I don't need that. And yeah, we got ourselves a calendar. Now, let's delete off everything that isn't in January. So we will delete these table rows. Table, delete, table rows. Great. So now I'm just January 1st through January 31st. I don't have any additional stuff. Um, and if I change this to February 1st, well, it doesn't exactly populate February. So let me just do this formula is +1, copy it down. There you go. So now February has the information and January does not. And if I go to March, I just change all these dates to March, and we'll delete off everything after the 31st. Delete table rows. So now March has the information and everything else doesn't. This is March down here. So this is pretty slick. I'm able to populate all these cells based off this task calendar. And that's it. You're done. I mean, there's a little bit of formatting I want to do, like maybe what I'll do here. I'll highlight all these like this, and I will highlight all these tabs. Let's set this to the left. Let's move this font size down one. Let's shrink to fit when needed. But yeah, we have a calendar that will now populate based off of the information we put in this task list. So we update our task list for the year with the appropriate dates, and then it shows up on a calendar. And we can print that calendar out, turn it into a PDF, send it around to whoever else needs to see it. But we've made ourselves a calendar for our organization or family or whatever, and away you go. So if you want this calendar, come to jhkerr.com. I'll give you a copy of the calendar. You can email me, subscribe to the channel, write in the comments, and tell me you want the calendar. I'll send you the calendar. It's no big deal. If you want help like this, I have weekly calls that help people with stuff they're looking to do on. But yeah, hopefully this helped you out a lot. And until next time, have a good one.